He almost didn't show up. That was the part that would haunt him later. If Jake Turner had trusted his instincts instead of the jeers of the other mechanics in the garage, he would have gone home, heated leftover chili, and watched a game on his battered TV. But no, he'd let himself be shoved into a button-down shirt that didn't quite fit, sprayed with cologne that wasn't his, and dropped off in front of the most expensive restaurant in the city with the words, "Go on, Romeo. She's way out of your league," echoing behind him. So when he sat alone at a table draped in linen so clean it glowed, he already knew something was off. The chandeliers sparkled too much. The waiters spoke in those soft, polished voices that felt like silk. And everyone else looked like they had stepped out of a magazine he couldn't afford. He was a mechanic. His hands were rough. His nails were never perfectly clean no matter how hard he scrubbed. The fork in front of him probably cost more than his last paycheck. He stuck out like a dented pickup in a luxury dealership. But hunger was hunger, and if the idiots at the shop had already paid for the reservation, he might as well eat the free meal before heading home. He ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, pizza, even though the price made his eyebrows jump, and tried not to worry about the stares. That was when he saw the little girl. No more than 4, blonde hair like sunlight and eyes bright with mischief. She pointed at him from across the room with a giggle so loud half the restaurant turned. Beside her stood a woman in a cream suit that fit her like it had been sewn directly onto her body. Beautiful didn't cover it, she looked carved from confidence and elegance. The kind of woman Jake would never, ever approach voluntarily. The child tugged her hand. Then she marched straight toward him. Jake froze with a slice of pizza halfway to his mouth. The girl stopped right at his table, stared up at him as if he were a magician who'd just appeared out of thin air, and declared, "Mommy, he looks nice. Can I sit with him?" The woman caught up a second later, breathless from trying to rein in her daughter. "Ella, sweetheart, we don't sit with strangers." "But he's eating pizza," the girl exclaimed, as though that explained everything. Jake set the slice down carefully. Hello?" The woman's cheeks flushed in embarrassment. "I'm so sorry." "She's very friendly." "It's okay," Jake said, smiling awkwardly. "Pizza does unite people." The woman laughed softly, and the sound wrapped around him in a way that made the room feel strangely warmer. She was stunning, yes, but it was the tired softness in her eyes that caught him. A softness that said she worked hard, loved fiercely, and hadn't had a moment of real rest in a long time. "I'm Amelia," she said. "This is my daughter Ella." "I'm Jake." Before she could respond, Ella wiggled her hand free and climbed into the empty chair across from Jake, beaming at him like they'd known each other for years. Amelia's mortified expression deepened. God, I'm so sorry, she usually listens better than this." Jake shook his head. "She's fine." "Really?" Then he turned to Ella. "You like pizza, huh?" She nodded vigorously. "Mommy says we're not supposed to eat it a lot. But today is special." "Special how?" Amelia opened her mouth, then closed it. "We're meeting someone." Jake didn't expect the twist to hit then. A man in a blue suit approached, a man Jake knew. One of the shop guys who had been involved in setting up the prank. He went pale when he recognized Jake sitting there. And then Amelia spoke again, her voice icy. "This is the man I was supposed to have dinner with." Jake blinked. "Wait, what?" Ella piped up unhelpfully, "But I like him better." The man in the suit stammered, "Amelia, I can explain, this is." Jake's stomach dropped. He finally understood. The guys hadn't just set him up on a prank blind date. They had arranged the reservation with someone far, far above his social stratum. And she had actually shown up. Except they never intended for her to actually meet him. They just wanted to send her in, let her see him, humiliate him, and walk out laughing. But instead, she had walked over. She had talked to him. Sat her daughter at his table. And now those same men watched from a distance, horrified. Amelia's expression sharpened, not at Jake, but at the fool who'd orchestrated all this. You thought this would be funny? That you could waste my time? Use my daughter in your little joke? And no, Amelia, I didn't. Save it. She turned back to Jake, and he braced for the polite rejection, the apology, the pity, the graceful exit. But she surprised him again. May we join you? She asked. Jake stared. Are you sure? I mean, I'm not. Ella patted his hand as if that settled everything. Please. Jake nodded. Amelia pulled out a chair. Across the restaurant, the man in the blue suit nearly choked on his wine. What followed felt unreal. Ella talked nonstop, about ponies, and her favorite color, and how she once tried to give the dog a haircut. Jake laughed until his stomach hurt. Amelia watched the two of them with a glow that softened all the edges of her. And Jake couldn't stop thinking how strange it was that a woman like her would be here, talking to him as if he weren't a walking oil stain. Halfway through the meal, Amelia finally asked, What do you do, Jake? Now came the test. He could lie. Say something polished. Something that matched the restaurant's golden walls and crystal chandeliers. But something in her eyes made him tell the truth. I'm a mechanic, he said. A good one, I hope. Amelia smiled, and he braced for the polite dismissal. Instead she said, That explains the hands. He flushed. Sorry. They scrubs as clean as they get. She lifted her own hand, tracing a small scar near her knuckle. Work leaves marks. Nothing wrong with that. He swallowed hard. Then she added, gently, My father owns this restaurant, by the way. Jake's fork nearly slipped from his fingers. Your father. Ella giggled. Mommy's daddy is the boss of everything. Jake tried not to choke. He had been pranked into a blind date with a CEO's daughter. Amelia watched him carefully. If that makes you uncomfortable, we can leave. He shook his head quickly. No. I just didn't expect any of this. Neither did I, she said quietly. And the truth in her voice hit him like a punch. When dessert arrived, brought out free of charge by a waiter who kept shooting Amelia nervous glances, Ella promptly shoved a spoonful of chocolate mousse toward Jake. Try it. Amelia laughed. Ella, let him breathe. I like him, Ella declared, sticky-faced and proud. Can he come again, Mommy? Jake froze. Amelia looked at him, really looked at him, and the moment stretched warm and fragile between them. I'd like that, she said. The words sounded like a door opening. After dinner, Jake walked them to their car, feeling like he was floating. Amelia's fingers brushed his when she handed him a small card. Call me, she said. I will. She smiled. I know. Ella leaned over her booster seat and shouted, Goodbye, Jake the pizza man. Amelia shook her head, amused. We'll work on the nickname. He watched their car pull away, unable to move. The next morning, he walked into the shop, and the room went silent. The pranksters waited for him to explode or slink away. Instead, Jake smiled, set his things down, and said calmly, So, thanks for the date. They stared, dumbstruck. He didn't elaborate. Some things were too good to share. Later that evening, when his phone buzzed and he saw Amelia's name, his heart kicked hard, and he knew. The prank hadn't been a humiliation. It had been a doorway. And for the first time in a long time, Jake Turner stepped through it,